Hi, welcome back to Sean O'Mac. Today we're going to be talking about Fire Punch. So I'm going to talk about the first few chapters. I'm not going to spoil, the overall story. I'm not going to give a review in that term that I'll tell you how everything goes down basically. This is just a should you read sort of thing and my personal thoughts on it. So I'm going to go over what happens in the first, I want to say 2 chapters, maybe the first chapter itself. I mean, a lot happens in the first couple of chapters. So I'm just going to give an overview of what actually happens and then give you my overall thoughts. So what is Fire Punch? It's set in like a post-apocalyptic, frozen, ice age looking place. Little settlements here and there with people that are trying to survive in this frozen wasteland. And in this frozen wasteland, there are humans and blessed. Now, blessed are just humans that have abilities. So, hence the world being frozen over, they blame on a blessed called the Ice Queen. Now, there's other abilities in this world, and I'm going to spoil those because there's some pretty cool ones. But the main character, Acne, and his little sister, Luna, are blessed with the ability of regeneration. Now, due to his regeneration ability, he lops off his arm quite a few times to feed the people of this little village because the world's frozen, food is very sparse. So he's feeding people with his arm. He refuses to let Luna do this because one, she's his younger sister, and he doesn't want to see her in pain, and her regeneration isn't as good as his. So it would take much longer for her arm to actually grow back if they were to cut it off. Oh, and his sister kind of likes him in a Cersei Lannister way. But one day, the soldiers from a place called like Behemdorg, something like that, come along and start stealing all their stuff. Now, they're pretty unhappy about that, Acne especially. He's the main character, he's got to be unhappy about that. And he speaks to a guy called Domus, who is the leader of the soldiers. Now, whilst he's speaking with Domus, one of these soldiers discovers human flesh being eaten by these people, which absolutely disgusts a lot of the soldiers, and they are about to leave and just, take off because they found cannibals. Domus asks Acne if there's any blessed in this village, to which Acne says, no. Domus goes, okay, and he burns a lot of them to the ground. Now, the thing about Domus' fire is that it doesn't extinguish until his target, or his fuel, has extinguished, I guess. So if he were to set me on fire, I couldn't put that fire out by rolling around on the ground or anything like that. It only goes out once I've died, effectively. And then that takes us to this guy, Acne, our main character. He is set on fire, everything around him burns, and unfortunately his little sister, who doesn't have the power to regenerate like he does, dies and tells him to live. Now, looking at that, when I first thought about this series, I thought, oh, he's a bit of a Johnny Storm, Human Torch kind of guy. No, he's on fire every day of his life. He's burning 24/7, just on fire constantly in agonizing pain, which was the first big thing I realized about the series. When I was like, wow, okay, this is a bit different. The main character is just in eternal agony. Agony. I didn't mean to do that. I'm sorry. So yeah, that's the basic premise. He is on fire forever and he wants to find this Domus and kill him, So it seems like a basic revenge story. So a few things I liked about the series itself. There's a lot of good build-up. So sometimes you'll get a lot of the panels, a couple of pages maybe, will be just build-up. You'll just have imagery, or you'll just have a character saying something in their head over and over, or something that they've heard. And you can go like a page or two without any proper dialogue, which is very interesting, but it really builds up a good sense of tension. I really like the art style as well. A lot of it looks really nice. I would flick through and show you, but there's a lot in here I don't think I can show. But I'll probably throw up some screenshots here and there. The other thing, there's a lot of character variety. Like, you've got a whole host of different characters. A a lot of pop culture references used throughout this, because a couple of the characters have lived for a long time due to their abilities and remember films and stuff like that. Togata, best character. It's also fairly short. Now you might like that, you might not, but it's only 8 volumes long, so it's not like you have to really get involved with a series that's going on for years and years and you don't know when it's gonna... Oh, hello One Piece. I'm kidding, I like One Piece, but that is a long story. Throughout the story as well, it does a really good job of showing the main character Acne, his mental state for all of this. I mean, he's been on fire for a long time, and that feeling does not go away. So it really does show how his headspace is dealing with all of this, you know, everything that's happening, including burning alive constantly. At times, however, not necessarily a dislike section, but, you know, so that's things that were a bit... yeah. The story can be a bit confusing sometimes. There were a couple of times where I was reading through and then things would seemingly just flip and just change completely, leaving me thinking a couple of times whether I've missed pages. Fortunately, that was, you know, mostly was explained for a couple of these instances, but it still was a bit jarring at the time reading through, and then you're looking and thinking, have I skipped a few pages? Or, rather than those couple of times, I wouldn't really say anything else bad about it. You know, the pacing, I think, is one thing everyone says about anything ever that they've reviewed, but the pacing is a bit flippy dippy. It's like very fast because it's a shorter series. It is more, I feel like it is a more fast-paced story. I don't know whether that's something that just happens with shorter stories, but obviously things happen very fast. You know, the main character gets to the point where he is on the front cover very fast, and obviously it's something that when you see in these sort of longer titles, One Piece, Naruto, that kind of stuff takes a while. Like, that kind of stuff's going to take more than the 8 volumes of Fire Punch to even get to that point, you know. So it's definitely more fast-paced than if you're used to reading a longer series. A couple of the only other things I found were a bit confusing were spoilers, so I'm not really going to talk about them too much, but one of them was that they skip a lot of the what you're going to feel are big fights, you know, ones that are going to cause damage, a lot of destruction. They skip out on those fights. They have a story reason for explaining it, which I actually quite like, but at the same time, there's a couple of conflicts that I wouldn't have minded seeing play out in their full. But we didn't get to see them, unfortunately, but their explanation for it I do like, so it's a bit, I don't know. And the other storyish one is that a few people look similar, if not identical, and I don't think that's really, from what I could tell anyway, there might be some reading between the lines stuff, who knows. But yeah, those are my general overall thoughts on the series itself. Would I recommend it? Yeah, I'd recommend it. It's very unique, it's really weird, it's very interesting. Like, it's something that I'd seen a few people talk about. I'd never heard of it until like a month or so ago, and then I bought the whole series and read through it, and I really enjoyed it. I'm still fairly new to reading manga. That's about the only thing I've ever really read, and I've started to get into collecting properly from the last couple of months. So this was a really good title to pick up. I really enjoyed it. I would definitely recommend it. Even just, if you're not too sure, read the first few chapters, you know, online somewhere and see how you find it. But no, I really enjoyed it. Gets a thumbs up from me. I rated it 8 out of 10 on my anime list, because I like to compile everything on there when I've, you know, finished it, just so I can see everything that I've rated and watched. So yeah, that's my thoughts on Fire Punch. I really enjoyed this series. I definitely recommend checking it out if you're a fan of weird, dark, goofy shit like this. I really liked it. So yeah, that's all from me. If you enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up, please. And other than that, subscribe. If you do subscribe, you'll see more goofy stuff that I'm going to be doing. I've got a few cool ideas that I want to be doing in the next few months, so look out for those. Other than that, thank you for the support. It's good to be here, and I will see you in whatever I decide to do next.